What is going on, Notre Dame fans? It is the eve of Notre Dame's showdown in the shoe against Ohio State. And to discuss the game and all the key aspects of it, we're bringing on Tim Hyde, our football analyst over at Blue and Gold. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our channel if you have not yet, and go to blueandgold.com. $1 for 1 year of premium access. I mean, you guys are tired of hearing me talk about it. So why don't you just go ahead and sign up, and then you'll get to see why I talk about this $1 for 1 year deal so much. So yeah, Tim, we'll dive right into it. The Notre Dame offense against the Ohio State defense it's just such a fascinating matchup because I feel like there's just question marks on both sides of the ball. What does Notre Dame need to do to put points on the board? Because look, Ohio State's going to score points. That's the biggest known in this game. So what does Notre Dame need to do to match that?
Well, I've gone back and looked at Notre Dame's losses since 2017, and they got in those 10 losses. One common thing that has happened over and over again is rushing attempts. It's not about yards, not about per carry. It's attempts. And Notre Dame in those games, in their 10 losses, only one time did they ever reach 40 carries. So for some reason, that magic 40 carry, that's clock, time of possession, controlling the ball game. The only time they never reached it was the 2017 Stanford game. The only time they did reach it was the Stanford game, but they only averaged 3.5 yards a carry. So they did not control the clock with that great offensive line in 2017. So I think the key is running the football. It's not about yards or anything. It's attempts. Keeping, obviously, Ohio State and that offense off the field. And the fascinating thing is in those 10 losses, 7 of those losses now. I mean, Notre Dame is, as we've talked, they haven't had any losses to unranked teams whatsoever. 7 of the 10 losses have been against top 10 teams. So Notre Dame has played upper echelon football games during this little, 5-year period here where they've won 10 games every year. And in the 7 losses against top 10 teams, they've never hit 40 rushes. Believe it or not, the best game was the Alabama game in 2020 when they had 38 carries. So trying to control the clock and keep that great offense with Mac Jones and the Heisman winner off the field.
Real quick, Tim, this Notre Dame offensive line should be a strength. I would say even without Jared Patterson, Andrew Christopher, Rocco Spindler, I mean, that's not a huge drop-off. Like, it's still very quality players. Notre Dame running backs, very good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about the Ohio State front? Should Notre Dame be able to move the ball? Like, if you're saying being able to run and getting those attempts up, yeah, that's nice. You also need to get some plus gains. So what do you know about this Ohio State front? But also, I mean, you would have to think they're going to stack the box.
Yes.
Even if it's not a strong front, they're going to be able to stack the box against Tyler Buckner, and then we're just going to see what he can do throwing the football.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm fully expecting them to play 8-man front, pack that box, go cover one outside, even drop a safety in the hole, the spy Buckner at times, and play some cover 0 on the edges and say, let's go. Because I know Ohio State has a lot of confidence in their corners to do that. But with the attempts comes controlling the clock, controlling the tempo. And I think for some reason that 40 attempt has been big, because in all their other matchups and all their other ranked game matchups, they've hit 40 attempts in every one outside of 2 in all these games over the last 5 years. So they have pounded the rock in some of the big games and controlled it. I think Ohio State's front 7, very athletic, some high-end, high recruit guys on the edges. They've been a little suspect in the middle. And that's going back to the games they've lost, especially last year where they got punched in the mouth. And Ohio State's defense has heard this for the last 9 months. That's why Jim Knowles is getting $2 million a year to run it. Is Oregon, Michigan just pummeled them up front, pounded the ball down their throats. Even in the Utah game where, Utah controlled that ball for a ton. Even going back to Minnesota game last year, believe it or not, Minnesota probably, they had a great tailback who got injured in that game, or Minnesota may have pulled off the huge upset to start the season last year because the way they were pounding the ball. So it's a physical, it's a mindset. It's, and that's going back to Coach Heastan, and probably the main reason why Tommy Rees wanted him back was he knew he was going to get this great offensive line up and running. And even without Patterson, as you've mentioned, great football player, fifth-year captain, Christophic's bringing a ton of experience after playing, with the last 7-8 games as a starter last season.
Yeah, Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman said Thursday afternoon that Patterson's questionable.
Yeah.
A limited performer in practice this week. So I would guess that he's not going to play, but again, not going to rule it out. Yeah, for all of the talk about the quarterbacks and can Tyler Buckner get it done, Notre Dame's ability to run the football is so important. Of course, with Buckner as well, his ability, whether it's a broken down pass play and he just sees an opportunity, or him in the design run game, very important aspect. When Ohio State has the football, we're going to imagine that they're just going to spread out. So Notre Dame's not going to get to play a bunch of base personnel. So when Notre Dame's in those nickel packages, what are you expecting to see from the Irish defense?
Yes. The first question is, are they going to stick to nickel? Are they going to stick to a true 5 DBs, even when Stover, their tight ends, in the game? Because, Stover played linebacker in the bowl game last year. So now he's back playing tight end full time. So are they just going to just not worry about him, so to speak? They had a great tight end last year, Ruckert, who's in the NFL now. So are they just not going to worry about him and just we're playing 5 DBs? So if they do that, obviously, you're going to lose a linebacker. And as we've talked, and, I know Tyler and Patrick Engel being at the practices have talked a ton on Blue and Gold about the linebackers and the strength of this team, the linebackers, the experience, the depth that they have. So if they're playing nickel, you got 2 linebackers off the field, out of those main 4, you're only going to have 2 on the field. So who's it going to be the majority of the time? Is it going to be Maris Leofeld, J.D. Bertrand, the leading tackler last year? Bauer's been a staple in their nickel dime. He's basically been the nickel Mike the last 2 football seasons. So is he going to be the main guy in there? And then maybe the most versatile football player in that front 7 is Jack Kaiser. So, 2 out of these 4 guys are going to be sitting on the bench if they're going to be, just basically playing Tariq Bracy, Cam Hart, and obviously Clarence Lewis is the 3 main corners on that field. So that's going to be an interesting thing. I know everyone talks about the spread out. Ryan Day, he is really stressed running the football, physicality. They move their, guards, the tackles for this season. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Notre Dame matches up against Ohio State's tight ends in this football game.
All right, enough X's and O's. Let's talk a different subject. Marcus Freeman has been downplaying this return to Columbus. He's, of course, an Ohio State alumni, played for the Buckeyes, great linebacker. This isn't the first time he's coached against Ohio State. It was 2000. What did you say, Tim? 15? What year was that?
Was it 19?
19.
Him and Luke Fickell went back.
Lost 42-0.
Yeah.
So it's his second time. First as a head coach, obviously. Been downplaying that. How big of a factor is this return in your eyes, especially for him being a first-time head coach?
That's the key right there, being a first-time head coach. So he hasn't, he's not, he hasn't been a couple other places. He hasn't, he's not coming to Notre Dame, like so many of the legendary coaches have brought experience with them, when they've come to Notre Dame and gone to other places that they, may have coached at and played against. With Freeman, it's fresh. It's still fresh. And I know he's downplayed some, but maybe he's doing that to not, relay that to the, the players, not so much the importance to him because the game's important in general for Ohio State and obviously Notre Dame. And, I think as a coach, I think he's just taking off the pressure. Like, guys, it ain't about me. I'm just going, I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to lead you, call some football plays. And he's putting me, probably the onus on the players. Like, it's you guys are the ones on the field. You guys need to go out there and lead and handle this thing. It's not about Marcus Freeman. I played there, nearly 20 years ago. Don't worry about me, guys. Go out and have some fun and enjoy it. And I bet you some of the things that he's doing, he learned from, Luke Fickell. When he went there, was Luke, was a great football player there and obviously a coach. And he was the interim coach that whole entire season before Urban Meyer. So was Fickell jacked up? Did he do some things that week that players may have noticed? Obviously, it's a great Ohio State team they had in 2019. But was there a few things that he learned? And Freeman's just being like, hey, My dad's going to be there. My parents are going to be there. Friends, family, all those things. But he's got his best friend next to him, correct? Laurinaitis, James Laurinaitis. So he's going back as well, who is an iconic linebacker in his own right there. And then one thing I did hear this week that Jim Tressel is going to be there. So that's pretty cool that Jim Tressel is going to be in the stands. Is he going to wear a shirt, Notre Dame shirt for Freeman and a Buckeye one for where he coached? So that'll be interesting. But I did hear he was going to be there. So, I'm sure deep down Freeman's going to be hyped, especially when they're out there dotting the I. I mean, Notre Dame won't be out when that's happening, but when they start hearing the music and that third quarter music they play and all that. So it'll hit him, but no, he's going there to win that football game. There's nothing he's thinking more deep down than going off that field 1-0. That's got to be an amazing thought and the feeling that he wants.
Tim, 60 seconds. Give us your score prediction and why.
Real easy. I've gone back, and the last time Notre Dame played in a 2-5 matchup on the road was 2014. Number 5 Notre Dame at defending national champions Florida State. Jameis Winston and that great Florida State game. And we all know, all the Notre Dame fans that have been out there, that's the infamous illegal pick game where they score the touchdown to win the game with a few seconds to go, and the flag comes out for the illegal pick, and which would have gave Notre Dame the win. I'm gonna say, hey, the football gods are going to reverse it. I am going to be probably one of 6 people in the United States that's going to pick Notre Dame in this game. So for some reason, I think the senior leadership, there's a ton of 5th-year guys, 6-year and Josh Lugg, a lot of old football players on this football team. I think they're going to go out there. I think they have that taste from the Fiesta Bowl in their mouth. They've been working their tails off. And in this game, I don't know if it's going to be an illegal pick to win it, but I'm going to go Notre Dame 33, Ohio State 31 in honor of the last 2 versus 5 game from 2014. Notre Dame's going to finish it this time.
All right, there you have it, Notre Dame fans. Hit that money line, according to Tim Hyde. Appreciate everyone watching here to the end of the video. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, $1 for 1 year over at blueandgold.com. Again, appreciate you all, and we'll catch you next time.